All right, guys, if you're listening, welcome to the XBS Chel Show, Season 28, Episode 1, which is really Week 1. I have myself here, Dusty. We have Krim. Krim's here. Say
Hey,
hello,
how's
Krim.
how's it going, guys?
We have Shuck.
Hey guys.
And we also have, as a guest, we have Beer Nuts here with us as well.
What's up, guys?
Every once in a while, Chilltown will join us as well. He can't right now, but it'll be kind of sporadic when he joins us for the show as well. So he'll be here some weeks with us sometimes. Okay, let's get to league news, guys, and then we'll get into really the beef of the show here. Again, I want to thank Vitamin for the 3 stars, Sway for the power rankings. If you guys haven't checked them out yet, please do that. They both do a great job with their write-ups. So if you get a chance, check them out. I know we had some disconnects this week. So for those of you that don't know, if it's a disconnect in the first period, you finish the period out, take the stats, and then you restart playing 2 periods. If it happens in the second period, you just continue the game with AI. You don't stop the game. You just go. So once the drop happens in the second period, you don't stop. You just keep going and continue the game with the AI. It does suck that way playing against the AI, but if we didn't do that, we could be restarting over and over. So that's the way we have to go about that. Lag. I don't know if you guys know, but my team and the Islanders had to reschedule for tonight because it was Thursday night and the lag was so bad the game was unplayable. So all the way and Sabres got together and discussed it, and they just rescheduled the game. So if that ever happens to you and the lag is so bad, just contact the owners, contact the other owner and say, listen, we can't play it this way, and then you can reschedule it. That's part of why we have the 4 nights a week. It gives you that one night where you can reschedule if you have to sometimes. All right, let's get into that's kind of the boring news stuff. Let's get into some of these trades. So, Krim, why don't you and Chuck can kind of talk about these 2 trades that happened. So let's get into that first trade, Krim.
Sure. Yeah. The first trade of the season was a doozy. No one really sees these kind of trades. It was a 4-for-4 trade. So, let's just break it down quickly. So we saw Burks, KT, the Kid 29, and King Tut was shipped to Detroit from the Islanders, and in return they received Assassin Rifle, Hap Van, MK Swan, and Jay Lennox. Quick analysis of this trade, it looks like 2 teams that saw what they were lacking and making a flip for it. So one team was lacking some defense, another team had a little extra offense. They wanted to kind of flip it around. So you see a top-end defender in KT going one way, and kind of on the other end, you're seeing a Habs fan at top forward flip back the other way. If you analyze this trade through, it does look kind of even going both ways. But in this game, defense is hard to come by, especially top-end defense. I know how hard it is to play defense in this game. So getting KT back on that one end is like a huge, huge thing. But we know that there's actually chemistry between Assassin Rifle and Habs fan because they're friends. So they play a lot together. So having that chemistry stay together and come back the other way is also a pretty nice thing. But like you said in your trade tracker, it's hard to like say one way or another who won that deal.
Yeah,
But,
this was a tough one.
At least getting Burks back to Detroit, you do get a little offense there too. So, it's hard to say.
Yeah, and the thing too, Chuck, if you want to jump in too, go ahead. But the thing with me, the kid is kind of the unknown too, because he came in late I think it was last season. It's like I think a late ad or something like that. And from what I've heard, he's really a good player. So I don't think we've seen everything from him yet. So he could be a huge part of that deal, even though we don't know much about him. Go ahead, Chuck.
The only thing I'm going to add in is, and I've talked to quite a few people who were involved in the trade, including both the owners. And my only qualm with it, realistically, because like you said, it looks like they both know what they wanted. They were basically trading defense for offense or vice versa. But my only worry is that maybe the trigger was pulled just a little bit too quick. One bad week doesn't equate to an entire season. And like you said, defense is really hard to come by. So I don't know if me personally, if I was an owner, if I could get rid of KT after one bad week. So it maybe it'll work out for him, which, it's not like the trade in the end seems pretty even. The only thing I worry about is if somebody pulled the trigger too soon. So
that's the thing too, like you mentioned, Detroit was playing well. It wasn't like they weren't playing well. So I was a little surprised that Detroit did make the deal. Islanders maybe not so much. I know you can say maybe it was kind of early, but maybe Sabres saw something there that just wasn't working, and I don't know, wanted to mix it up. I don't know.
Yeah, like
You know,
specifically Dash. I know I talked to him quite a bit, and he felt
Mhm.
like his team had a little bit of excess in offensive firepower. He felt like everybody was
Mhm.
really gelling with each other pretty well, even this early in the season. And he felt like he could get away with getting rid, trading some of his offensive firepower away to shore up the back end. So
all
No.
right.
He moved half his team.
yeah, it's like
All right, so let's
offensive power. It's all gone
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get to that next one. You were kind of, you probably have some inside info on this one. This next trade that happened. Which
Yeah,
one?
so this is a trade between my team, LA, and the Vegas Golden Knights. So we had Get Hyped and Still Corpse in a package deal for Scooney and Top Shelf. So we only had 1 week on the team. I know our team struggled to get through that first week. We had a 1-8-1 week. I think Vegas had a decent week. It wasn't too bad. But I know Whip was always interested in Get Hyped. So I think when he was approached with this deal, he was going to make it work one way or another.
Yeah.
Scooney's a good player. I think we were going to get better as time went on. I think it might have been a little bit early for him to pull off this trade, but he knew which player he wanted, and he got him. So I guess that's why it went through.
Yeah, he's always been a big fan of Hyped. I know he was gonna draft in that whole draft controversy where Stupid kind of knew what he was gonna do. I know Whip was gonna draft Get Hyped. So like you said, I guess when he saw the opportunity, he jumped at it. Like you said, Kremi, he wanted his
Hmm.
man, and when he saw him come up, he said, "Oh, I'm gonna try to get him." So he got him. Like this one, we'll get Chuck. We'll get your opinion on this. So just real fast about the trade tracker. I kind of felt like, you guys saw it. I gave the advantage to Vegas. And I looked at it for a while, and you guys can go read the trade track. I'm not getting into it now, but that was how I kind of saw it after looking at it. And I said, "Oh, I think Vegas gets it out here." But Chuck, what are your feelings on this one?
I feel like just my personal opinion, I feel like it's probably pretty even right now. But
Mhm.
like Krim was saying, I feel like obviously Scooney's a rookie, so he's got potentially, if we're being objective, he's probably got a little bit more upside because still got more room to grow. Not as many people know his game. That
But
kind
he's
of
the
thing.
unknown.
He's the
major
unknown.
unknown. Yeah.
So, and I mean, statistically, if you're comparing like the main pieces, which are obviously Scooney and Get Hype, two pretty solid players. Scooney being a relatively unknown because he's a rookie. Most people have been pretty high on him anyways, but then the two other pieces that went, both of them weren't necessarily they didn't have neither UG Steel Corps or Top Shelf had the best first week compared to some of the other players who would be considered probably depth players and stuff like that. So
Right.
I think it's one of those. I feel like it's one of those trades that you're not gonna really tell who came out in the ahead until 3 or 4 weeks from now when you see how each of the players that were involved are actually playing. So if I had to say, I would agree with you that Vegas probably got the better end of the deal because I think Scooney's just going to get better and better. But
I mean, Get Hype did have 96 points last season. So, I mean, he's no joke.
Yeah,
He's
for sure.
obviously a point producer. But like when I saw a combination of Scooney, who I think has a ton of potential, and Top Shelf versus Get Hyped and UG Steel Corps is still rather new here as well. I just felt like Vegas got the advantage. That was on that deal. But
and like I
Yeah.
said, to me, it's not by much, but just from the eye test, you got
Yep.
if you're going to give somebody the lead, probably goes to Vegas slightly.
all right, Beer Nuts, what were you gonna say something, Beer Nuts?
Oh,
Do you
but
wanna add
Whip
something
knows
in there?
exactly what he's getting. Yeah, he loves him some Brent. But I've got to play a lot with Scooney in the scouting games. I've played against him before, and he's really good. He's maybe just gonna take a while to, like you say, find his feet, but he's gonna be a good player.
Yeah, I think so. All right, you guys ready to move on to the roundtable kind of discussion stuff?
Yeah.
All right, Krim, why don't you start us off with that first topic that we want to bring up here? You have it there in the notes.
I feel like I'm
Start us
getting
off.
deja vu from last season.
I know.
We had two undefeated teams go through, and then they were going to play each other in the first game the following week. So I think it was Carolina and the Avs, and this season
Yes.
it's Edmonton and Montreal, which is kind of funny because you're looking at Jetty again and Levens again. So
That's true.
they're meeting up in undefeated matchup. So both teams are 10-0. I'm going to say surprised on one end and not so surprised on the other. because
I
we
agree with
knew
you.
the team that Vi put together was built really well. But
Hmm.
just looking on paper at Montreal, I wouldn't have put them as an undefeated team the first week. But again, I wouldn't have probably put my own team as a pretty much 1-8 1 week. So anything can happen. Things can change quickly. Um, but looking quickly through, there's some like stuff you wouldn't see just off the page. Is looking statistically here. I'm looking at the team stats here. Goals for Edmonton
Hmm.
is 62. Montreal is 44. Goals against for Montreal is only 21.
Yeah,
But
which
goals
stood out to
against
me.
for yeah, goals against for Edmonton is much higher. So you
Yeah,
can tell what kind of game they're playing, right? You're playing a defensive game, winning by fewer goals, or you can play an offensive game and win by 6 goals, right? So you can tell they're playing different styles of hockey, but ending up the same way with wins, right?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I look at the team stats stuff that I was looking at. I saw like goals against for Montreal, and I saw, that kind of stood out to me. I saw Montreal plays a physical game. They lead the league in hits. It's
Yep.
only 1 week, but the stats are kind of revealing. I just want to add something too. I told you guys, Chilltown gave his kind of insight onto why Montreal is playing so well, and here's what he had to say for people that are listening. He said, comments about Montreal being undefeated. UVL is playing incredible, no doubt. We'll get to that in a minute. Other contributing factors: team has defensive mindset. D-men are playing great. Forwards are back checking and not allowing themselves to get caught too deep, which also limits odd man rushes. Offense is clicking pretty well, and then we have Jetty, who's good for 2 to 3 goals a game. That plus Team D and UVL is why we're undefeated, and that was Chilltown's hot take. Um, Shuck, are you surprised by Montreal? I mean, Edmonton. I agree with Krim on. I'm not Edmonton. I mean, yeah, Edmonton. I agree with Krim on Edmonton. I'm not surprised. I am surprised about Montreal. What's your take on this one, Shuck?
If my personal opinion, I'm honestly surprised both of them are undefeated because
Okay.
I know everybody said Edmonton was built really well, but like when we went and looked at the stats, the biggest glaring thing that comes out when I look at those two teams is the 41 goals against for Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they've scored a ton, but me personally, I don't feel like that style of hockey is necessarily the most sustainable because people are going to go through hot streaks. Obviously, Vibe tends to have a little bit longer hot streaks than some other people. Flaming Dragon, he's got people to set him up. He can score all night, but
Mm-hmm.
um, in the long run, I've always heard the old saying of defense wins championships and offense sells the tickets. So, I mean, if anything, I'm just looking at the stats. I'm genuinely more surprised Edmonton's undefeated than Montreal because of how well Montreal is playing defensively.
Yeah. Okay.
Just looking at the stats, looking at the rosters. I mean, they both. I mean, they have. Both teams have great rosters, so it's not necessarily surprising to see those players on undefeated teams after a week. But looking at the stats, it feels like Montreal's controlled the games a little bit more. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just looking real fast. Edmonton has 62 goals for. Montreal has 44 goals for. But
Yep.
Edmonton has 41 goals against, and Montreal only has 21 goals against. So yeah,
And
there's
the
So
other
the
thing is
differential is pretty much the
Montreal.
same, right?
Montreal is doing all of this
yeah.
with only a 12.5% power play percent.
Yeah, I mean,
So
does that really affect the
solid
game much?
defense
I guess.
mainly.
Yeah,
It just shows that they're.
I mean,
They're not having to score nearly as much as Edmonton is to win the games they're winning. So.
right. Yeah. I mean, they lead the league in goals against. Like I think Krim mentioned that, but
Mhm.
Edmonton leads in goals for. So yeah, it'll be defense against offense in that matchup that's coming up on Monday. But before we get to that, let's talk about UV a little bit. I want to talk about this guy because he's just relatively new to playing net, and I first played with him, and I think it was the threes tournament. I think he was on my team in threes tournament, and where's Peanuts? Wait, were you my goalie? What I know I played with UV. Maybe I played against him in the threes tournament. I'm losing my mind here.
Old age.
Yeah. So UVL, I just remember me was playing against him. He was really solid in net, and his stats
Yeah.
this season. I mean, his stats. If you want to, you and Chuck, and you want to jump on this one about talking about UVL here. You guys want to maybe talk about his stats a little bit. I mean, they're just. I know it's 1 week, but they were really, really solid.
Oh yeah. If I play a lot with him at the what we like to call the late night XBS group, who's on till like 2 or 3 in the morning most nights. And anytime I don't want to play goalie, he is more than happy to jump in. And sometimes he's been drinking way too much, and he's like a drunken savant. I don't know how he does it. Like because if I were to be doing that, I'd be letting everything in. But he'll just be doing stuff and won't even know he's doing it. So maybe he's just working on instincts that he doesn't know is there. But all joking aside, in the preseason and as much as I've played with him, anytime he's been in net, it's just been like, a pleasant surprise. Like you guys said, he's relatively new to the position and he doesn't act like it. So, I mean, he's, the biggest thing that is the hardest thing to drill into new goaltenders' heads is, stay short, let your defense take care of the pass. And he's never had that problem. So I feel like he's just ahead of the curve in terms of learning the position compared to a lot of the newer goaltenders. And I don't see him dropping off a ton. I don't know about sustaining an 8.65 save percentage the entire season, but if he did, hats off to him. But I mean, I don't see him, I don't see this being just a fluke or anything like that. So
yeah, that's my guy, Chris. I hope he keeps it up. But he's like Chuck was saying, he played a little bit here and there, and I kind of had the feeling that he wanted to take it on full time, and Jetty knew exactly how good he was. I know Jetty was try and get him on his team no matter where he ended up. But
Okay.
yeah, he's great, and he's so great and close. He's really really hard to score on. But yeah, I hope he keeps it up. He's doing great.
Yeah, he leads in goals against average 2.10 and save percentage is second at 0.865, and he's undefeated. So that kind of all goes hand in hand. All right, so they play Monday night. Who's winning that game? Do we take? Is anybody going to sweep it? Is it going to be a split? What are you guys thinking on this when they play Monday night, Edmonton and Montreal?
A little inside information is Chel's back home with his internet, so he's gonna be winning faceoffs. I can guarantee you that.
I'm trying to see. Okay, so I got to see. I don't think the lines are in yet. No, they're not. So we really can't analyze the lines that are going to go in. I would think maybe it's going to be Chilltown, DC, and Jetty up front for Montreal, and probably Levens, Vibe, and Dragon up front for Edmonton.
I was gonna say, knowing Jetty and Vibe, they're gonna bring their A teams for sure.
Yeah.
Show each other up a little bit. I don't know. I mean, we can make predictions all day. Who's winning these? Anyone?
I'm gonna go on a limb. I'm gonna say Edmonton's gonna take it. I think they're both really good.
Mm-hmm.
I think both games. Yeah, I'm not surprised that Montreal is undefeated.
Okay.
I mean, Jetty wins a lot of regular season games. He's besides that Vancouver with the, his first draft pick not being available. He's just been on winners the whole time. So I'm not surprised about them. But I do think Montreal is whatever Vibe is missing. I think Levens brings it, and I think just looking at him before the season, I think they were the best team, and I think he's definitely going to bring his A team, and I think Edmonton's going to take both.
All right. What about you, Shuck?
I'm the exact opposite. I think Montreal's going to come out of it undefeated. So I'm going to go with my boy Uville.
All right, you going Montreal? Yeah. What about you, Krim?
I'm gonna lean towards Edmonton. With those two wingers that can score goals and having that center that will lock it down defensively, it's gonna be hard for Montreal, I think, to get that W. But yeah, Chel will be home with his internet, so
that's good.
Different connection, so we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna put my edge towards Edmonton. All
right, I'm not picking anybody because I'm always wrong anyway. So whatever I say is going to be wrong. So I'll go with whatever you guys go with. All right, so let's go on to this next topic there, Shuck. You want to kind of bring in this next topic we're going to discuss?
Yeah, we're gonna just go ahead and throw around some goalie love here. So
well, first let's go back to the rookie standouts.
Oh, rookies!
Up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I'm jumping up ahead of myself.
Oh, look at this guy, forgetting the rookies already.
Oh yeah, rookies. Okay, so rookie standouts. Obviously, we have two listed. I'm gonna try and find a third. But yeah, I got those two guys pulled up, so we'll talk about those guys first.
Yeah, I had to just real fast. I went through and I tried to find. We only have 5 rookies, so it was kind of hard to.
I mean, rookies. We got what? Scooney. Yeah. We've got Burnett. We've got Assassin Rifle as a rookie, right?
Yeah. Right. So, yeah. Oh, you know what?
I would say he would probably be the third one we'd shout out because he had a really good week last week. But we can start with Scooney. Obviously,
I want to apologize though. Hold on, I want to apologize. I probably forgot I think I completely forgot about Assassin. Thinking he was a not a new guy here. He's up there too in scoring, I believe. Let me just check real fast. We can throw a shout out to him as well. I feel bad. He is, yeah, he's up there with Scooney. He's got 15 points in 6 games, same exact stats as Scooney. So let's not forget about Assassin's Rifle, which I just kind of did there in the note. So, all right, go ahead, Chuck. Sorry about that.
Yeah, if we're talking about basically 3 rookie starts of the week, we'll go.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start with Scooney. Obviously, he was involved in that huge trade. Well, not the huge trade, but the smaller trade.
Right.
But playing on, obviously the team that was dead last in the standings, he still managed to have 15 points in 6 games on 9 goals and 6 assists. He threw the body a little bit too with 15 hits for a winger. That's really not too bad. And then moving on to Burnett, I personally got to, I get to play with him. He's been a really, really solid center for us. 6 games last week for 7 goals and 6 assists. He's had 2 game-winning goals already, and he's winning, over 50% of his face-offs. So can't sneeze at that. His plus minus is +5 too. So we're not really having a bad time when he's out on the ice. It's actually really, really nice when he's only got 2 penalty minutes. So he only took 1 penalty all week.
That's good.
Let me get Assassin right.
Yeah, he's right around there with Scooney.
Because he's right there with everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
6 games, 15 points, 9 goals, 6 assists, almost identical stats to
it is Scooney. Exact
it's
same
literally only 5 PIMs, 23 hits. So obviously center tends to be a little bit more physical than the wingers, but it's always good to have that physical presence out there. He's also got 2 of the game-winning goals for his team that week, but he's got a +8 on the plus and minus. So he's arguably one of the most successful out of the 3 that we just mentioned. So
yeah, he's that really stocky center too. Like it's like 6 feet, 200 pounds, something like that. Like some big stocky sniper at center. So that's Assassin's still talking about.
I just speaking on him in general. I think now that he's with New York, I think he might actually have a little bit more of a chance to shine, because I think Scott might actually utilize him a little bit more. I don't know how much.
He played a fair amount. He played 6 games.
Yeah, he's got a real good thing going with Habs too, and Swan.
I mean, he's gonna. It can only get better. So I can't believe you forgot about him, Dusty.
Well, no, I didn't. I brought him back up. Don't worry. Don't make me feel worse than I do. Biernuts, what were you gonna say? Were you gonna say something, Biernuts? I just started chiming in there.
I was just saying what a good thing they got going. Assassin's Rifle and Habs and Swan, and they get to keep the whole line together. They're just changing jerseys, but
and playing us again. We got to play them again.
On top of all of that, I mean, we could just do a general shout out to all the rookies. I mean, we've had this is probably one of the better rookie classes that I've been around for. Obviously, this is only my 2nd full season, but these guys are coming out and making a difference, week 1. So
and also we tried to get him in here, more rookies, but we just couldn't do it with the numbers. I mean, like we tried, but just we can only get 5 in this season. But anyway, Krim, what were you gonna say? Krim, you gonna say something?
Yeah, I just want to bring up a rookie on my team too, because I think he might get overlooked for most of the season because he's playing defense.
Mm-hmm.
We have the flip. The flip's playing defense for us, and actually he's been our most solid defenseman this entire first week. So he came out there, played his first game, and got Habs a shutout, finished with a 100 D rating. So right now he's at 82.8, which isn't too bad after considering our week. And he's only -3, which is also the best on the team. So there's that.
I'm glad you mentioned him, because I think those guys get overlooked. I'm glad you brought that up. But I also want to say something with you guys. I know I'm surprised you guys play mostly West teams this week. I think you did, right, Krim?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think
Only West
if
teams.
I'm looking at the stat teams, I think the West is probably stronger than the East at this point. So I think I was even like San Jose. I know we're struggling, but I know playing those West teams can make these more difficult, I think, than the East at this point, in my opinion. But that's for another time.
The only win they picked up was against us, so feels bad, man.
Couldn't get anything going.
Oh man!
All right, so let's get on to the goalie stuff that Chuck wanted to jump across to so quickly. Let's get to those
goalies, right?
Beernuts and Chuck, you guys can take this topic, give these goalies some love here. Yeah, if you click on that link, it should bring you right to it, I think.
All right,
the notes.
I can start. I mean, if we're just throwing around love, obviously we've already heaped it all over Yville.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, rookie goaltender, not a rookie player, but a rookie goaltender, and statistically one of the best goalies that's playing right now. Obviously, Beernuts having us another, doing his thing. as he normally does, with an 829 save percentage through 8 games. Dash only had to play 4 games in that last week, but
He played pretty well.
he's like 0.004% or something like that away from 900. So he played lights out. Laner had probably what people would consider a down week at 7-9, but I think he had some tough matchups in Chicago. I know the games that I played against him, he played lights out, and we had a pretty fun back and forth in terms of the battle that we had. Culper, obviously he's not a main
regular goalie.
But hey, backup's goalie's got to get love too. 2 games and he only allowed 6 goals, so
He's
gotta have a solid backup, and he's 2-0.
He won both games, yeah.
Beer Nuts, you got anybody else you want to talk about? 'Cause I was just listing all of them.
You can mention those shutout guys, Beer Nuts, in the notes here. There's 5 guys that had shutouts. You want to throw out some names there?
Everybody but me.
Hey, I didn't have one either, so.
Yes, Sam Squanch. I didn't even know he played goalie, but he had a solid week. But yeah, the big one is UVL. He's crushing it, man.
Yeah, I mean, Soglo, Habs, Sam Squanch, Stupid Bastard, and UVL all had shutouts this week.
Soglo had a good comeback to the week too, because he started off rough. From what I think, if I'm not mistaken, looking at the stats early on, because I watched the goalie stats throughout the week, because I got to check mine, obviously. But he had a pretty rough start to the week, so he bounced back to almost get back to 800. So props to him too, because he's new to it as well.
Look at the saves.
Yeah,
he's getting
159 saves.
3,000 saves by the end of the season.
Yeah, I think you got that saves per games played as well. He's leading. He's got 25.6 saves per game. So he's facing a ton of rubber. And like you said, so I think he hasn't normally been a goalie. I think he's still learning how to play net. So
yeah, he was a forward.
Good for
him.
him.
As much as I remember.
He's a good forward too. He's a really good player.
Good. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Anything else you want to talk about with the goalies? You wanted to give those guys some love, the rookies some love. If there's anything else that you guys want to address, do it now. If not, we'll kind of close up the show and say goodnight, and that's it. Anything else you guys want to add, Krim, Shuck?
I mean, we can ask if anybody out in the chat has any questions. That would be the perfect time. If you guys have any questions, just throw them in the chat.
I just wanted to add one other shout out to Fratis, the rookie on our team. We didn't get a chance to talk about him, but he's off to a good start too, and I think he's got 9 points in 4 games, so he's.
Yep, another good rookie.
Yeah.
For sure. Are we getting any questions at all in the chat? I'm assuming. I don't know.
Jetty wants to know if Beer Nuts is still polishing his Vesna.
It's not the only thing he's polishing.
Jetty, it's still early, buddy. I'm right on his tail. It's still early, all right?
We have time.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
That's right. You tell him.
We keep getting these joke questions. Now Rushpack wants to know why Chilltown sucks so much. So
Chilltown.
It's because he was on the wrong internet. That's what it was. Now he's back to his former glory.
He might be back around next week to answer your question, Rushpack. Yeah. Don't worry, we'll try to remember that one.
But I don't have any other questions. It's just a bunch of people being goofy. So.
All right. Well, I'm glad if people are listening. Thank you for listening to it live. It will be recorded. So if you know anybody who hasn't heard the show, I'll let them know it's going to be recorded. And they will. Is it not going to be on the YouTube channel, or is that where they're going to be able to listen to it?
Yeah, gonna try and put it on the YouTube as long as the automatic COVID robot doesn't automatically take it down like it's been trying to lately. And then, like I mentioned before the thing, I'm actually going to look into getting it turned into a podcast as well. So look out keep an eye out for that. I'll try and let you guys know if that comes through. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to thank you, Krim and Shuck and Beer Nuts, for joining us this week.
Yes, thank you for having me, guys.
No problem. And we just wish everybody good luck in week 2. And have fun, guys.
See you on the ice.
See you.
Later, guys.